But what was more encouraging to me was the action in the mining stocks, because both the GDX and the GDXJ hit new 52-week highs this week. In fact, the GDXJ hit a new 52-week high on Friday. The GDX didn't do that, but the GDXJ now caught up. It was lagging, and now it's caught up. Both of those indexes are up 65% on the year, right? This is the best performing sector in the Trump economy, are gold and silver mining stocks. Now, you wouldn't know that if you just listened to like a CNBC or something. They barely talk about these stocks, right? They want to talk, let's talk about Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin isn't up anywhere near this much. I mean, it's up maybe 23%. It's not even up as much as gold, but it's getting killed by gold mining stocks, silver mining stocks. Why not talk about those? But, what I was watching this week that was very encouraging is every time a gold stock got sold off on earnings, right, which they've been doing this for years now, whatever the earnings are, just sell, right? That's like the programs are there, the algorithms. Anytime a gold stock comes out with earnings, just sell it, right? Well, they still sold them, but they immediately were bought back, right? The rallies, big drops, 10% drops, come back, right? Maybe it takes a day or two, three, but the market brings it back because buyers are now waiting in the wings to scoop these stocks up, right? You have big money, sophisticated money. For years and years, Wall Street never had any confidence in the gold rally, continued to expect the price of gold to crash, and so they never bought these stocks. Because gold stocks, when you're buying gold stocks, you are buying the future earning stream of these gold mining companies. And if you have no confidence in future earnings because you expect the gold price to crash in the future, well, you're not going to pay up for these stocks. But I think the investors are now starting to come to the conclusion that gold ain't going down. In fact, they're going to have to get used to the fact that it's going to keep going up. And that means these gold stocks and these silver stocks are screaming buys, and that's why the smart money is just finally moving into the market. This has got a long way to go. The public is still asleep. They're not buying these stocks. My clients are obviously, but most of the clients don't get my advice. They don't watch my podcast. They don't have accounts with me. They don't own my funds, and they're not in on this. But again, I continue to strongly recommend. I think the consolidation is coming near an end on this $3,400 gold. It's going to break out. I think we're headed towards 4,000, maybe by the end of the year. Silver, once it breaks through 40, it's been hanging out around 38, 37 and a half, 38 and a half. Once it got above 39, but once it clears out 40, it makes a beeline for $50. So you want to get your gold and silver. In fact, we got, our website. We totally revamped the Schiff Gold website for the online shopping experience. You got to try it out. It's very seamless. You can load up your shopping cart. Of course, we still got our specialists to give you the personal touch. If you just don't want to, buy interpersonally, on your computer screen, if you want somebody to, to hold your hand and take you through the process, we got the best hand holders out there, and they are not going to steer you in the wrong direction. I was watching this infomercial on Fox Business the other day, and this company is out there trying to get people to buy these little teeny bars of gold that are like a half a gram, but there's like $50 worth of gold there, and they're charging $80 for it. So you need gold to go to 550 to break even. Plus, you had to pay the shipping and handling. And then they were selling silver $half, Kennedy $half, but not the silver ones from pre-1964, but the normal ones that are made, of copper clad, whatever. They're not worth much more than the face value. And they're selling these things at almost triple. So they're basically selling 50 cents for $1.25, right? But people are dumb enough to buy this stuff because of the way that they market it. In fact, this company does sell legitimate products too. I went to their website to see what they were selling like a 1 ounce maple leaf for, and it was like $300 more than you could buy the exact same coin on Schiff Gold. So there's a lot of ripoffs out there, unfortunately, in this space. That's why you want to stay with somebody that you trust. So you want to get on the Schiff Gold site and buy some gold and silver. But if you want to take some risks, the Euro-Pacific Gold Fund, EPGIX, right? I keep, get that symbol wrong a lot, but that's the no-load version. But, our fund is actually only up about 60. Oh no, wait a minute. I thought the GDX. I think we're up more than 65% on the year. Maybe it's 70%. Because I thought we were lagging because my fund's up about 63, 64. Maybe those numbers are wrong. Maybe it's 70% on the year on the GDX. I gotta double check, but this is live, so I can't do it. But in any event, it's either that or higher. But the reason that my fund is not over 70% is because we got a lot of the real small stocks in there that have weighed us down. But I think that weight is going to become the reason that I believe we're going to outperform significantly. Because I think when more money starts to come into this sector, right now they're focusing on the big names. That's what the big funds are buying because that's where the liquidity is. But at some point, these little ones are going to really start to move, especially when the big ones start buying them. I mean, that's what's going to happen because they've got so much cash now. They're making so much money. They need to expand their reserves. They need to get more gold. And, why spend money exploring for it when you just buy it, right? There's so much in these small exploration companies that have already been looking for gold. A lot of them have pretty good properties they're sitting on, pretty good projects. They just need the money to develop them. Well, these major companies have got nothing but money. They're money machines at this point. Wall Street is just barely starting to catch on. So you really want to load up. This is a great sign that we're seeing this kind of action. I haven't seen this kind of strength in gold stocks in many, many years. Gold stocks are going up on days when gold is down. They used to get killed every time gold went down. Now they're going up, and they go up on days now where gold goes sideways. So you want to get my gold fund, buy some physical gold, and even look at my dividend payers, my basic dividend payers stock fund. I think we're now up 36% on the year. I mean, that's a fantastic return in 1 year. We have utilities in there. We have just basic stocks that pay good dividends, and we're running circles around the S&P 500 or even NASDAQ by buying these stocks because the tide has turned. Money is being sucked out of the U.S. economy, as I've been forecasting. People around the world are bringing their money home because it's much better to invest locally in their own stocks that are much cheaper than our stocks and get out of the U.S. dollar, which is a big risk. Even my foreign bond fund is beating the S&P this year. It's up over 10% just buying foreign bonds. And foreigners, when they look at the S&P, they're looking at losses because the S&P is barely up enough to cover what they've lost being in the dollar. And the dollar's decline has really just gotten started. The dollar's got a long way to fall. And so it's going to be a headwind for U.S. stocks and a tailwind for foreign stocks for many, many, many years. So we're getting private money divesting itself of U.S. stocks, investing in foreign stocks. We've got central banks divesting of dollars and buying gold, and that's going to continue. So you've got to do the same thing with your portfolio. Well, everybody else is still, oblivious to what's going on, and they're investing, looking in the rearview mirror, and just trying to do what worked in the past. They have no idea what's going to be working in the future. But what we're doing is forward-looking, and we understand this because we've been waiting for it. We've been forecasting it. It's actually taken longer than I thought for this process to begin, but it's clear that it has, in fact, begun. Anyway, I want to talk now, in fact, the rest of the podcast, about what's been going on with my bank. Just in case, too, some of the people that haven't, that have accounts at there or had accounts there haven't noticed my emails. I've been sending out emails and posting stuff on the bank website. In fact, this has been my full-time job now, unfortunately, because there's no pay. In fact, I have to pay to do this job. But I am trying my best to clean up this mess that I did not create. I had nothing to do with creating this mess, but I'm the only one who's trying to clean it up. But anyway, so my bank, as everybody knows, was put into receivership over 3 years ago. 3 years and maybe 2 months now. June of 2022. Yeah, so exactly, it's almost August 30th, on the 30th, so almost 3 years and 2 months, put in a receivership, right? Like it was bankrupt, under the administration of a trustee, a receiver. Despite the fact that my bank had no debt, no past due bills, and didn't even make any loans. All it had on its balance sheet was cash, and it had a couple $1 million more than it owed depositors. In addition to that, the bank had gold, silver, and mutual funds that belonged to the customers. And so we had the exact amount of gold, silver, and mutual funds that the customers owned. So that was a wash. So totally solvent bank. Didn't need a receivership. Nobody needed to be protected. I could have unwound this whole bank in a couple of weeks, taken my money out, and that would have been it, right? Although there was no reason to even do this. It was all done as a publicity stunt for the J5. The IRS came in here, strong-armed the Puerto Rican commissioner to do all that. That's the basis of my civil rights lawsuit, and I don't even want to get into that.